Hey guys, it's Don here from the board. Today it's a little bit something different because I'm actually in Queensland and I'm attending a mini-meet that's being held at the State Library of Queensland. They have a makerspace and they call it The Edge. It's actually part of The Edge, which is the fabrication lab now. So Tommy, who's one of our locals here, has just guided me down here, and let's take a swing into the space. So this is the entry through to the fabrication lab, and the mini meet is already in swing as we get in. So hopefully I'll have a chance to have a chat to some of these cool keyboard people very shortly. We'll see what else is happening here. So it looks like it's a pretty cool area. It's down in the basement. It's sort of tucked away from different people. I've been told, there's 3D printing machines here, there's laser cutters, we've got some innovation space, whiteboards, sort of space that you can do all sorts of funky, cool things. Massive projectors, we've got a soldering station over there in the distance. And here we have people in our community. Alrighty, so rolling along, I think we might say hello to some people. Hi. You must be Billy.
Yeah.
Nice to meet you, Billy. So, just getting used to holding out the keyboard, but check it out. So, I'm guessing I missed the earlier...
No, we haven't done the tour yet.
Haven't done the tour?
Yeah.
Awesome, cool.
You have not missed out.
All right, well, what I'm going to do is just stop the recording for the moment, and yeah, hopefully I'll get to chat to some of the people very shortly. Yeah, so after that little bit of intro to the Brisbane mini meetup, unfortunately I actually did not get any more footage, and I also didn't get an opportunity to do any interviews. So this video is obviously going to be a lot shorter than I hoped it was going to be, but there was a couple of factors that was involved with that. I also didn't really get a chance to play with a lot of the keyboards and check them out. So I had a breakfast in the morning that I had to attend because it was part of the wedding event which caused me to be up in Brisbane in the first place. And the cafe that the breakfast was at was, quite frankly, overwhelmed by the number of people who were attending. It's a little bit funny because they had booked in advance, so they knew exactly how many people were going to be coming and needing food, but yet the cafe didn't put on any extra staff. So there was about a 40-minute wait for people's food from when they ordered to when it actually came to the table. So that resulted in us leaving quite late, and it was about an hour and a bit's drive from the location to the meetup. Then, of course, we had to find parking because the meetup location, The Edge, which is in the basement of the Queensland State Library, there was a parking lot underneath the State Library. So when we drove around to the actual parking lot, the indicator said 3 spots left. When we got to the actual boom gate, it still said 3, and there was 1 car in front of us. The car went through, the boom gate came down, and the indicator said full. So there was no parking left. So there obviously was another entrance somewhere, and another 2 vehicles got in while the person in front of us was actually getting their ticket and paying and entering. So I actually had to do a reverse and then come back out and find parking in the other building, which was the museum and art gallery, and then we had to walk back. So by the time I got there, it was actually already quite late, and it turns out The Edge had a workshop that was happening right next to where the keyboard meetup was, and it was a paying workshop. So the people who were attending the workshop had actually paid to be there, whereas the mini meet was sort of just hey, can we use this space and have a meetup? So they felt that we should have vacated that to not disturb them doing their workshop. The end result, of course, was that we ended up going to Saccharomyces Bar Cafe, which was down in Fish Lane, and that was really cool, where we hung out for a bit when I just got a chance to chat with everybody and just talk a little bit about keyboards and, innovation and things like that, which was really nifty, but it wasn't really a great environment to be able to do any interviews and so on and so forth. So I do apologize that I wasn't able to get everything happening. We did get a tour of the facility, but I didn't really want to be pulling out my phone and getting in people's ways to sort of record what was happening there. But I do have obviously the actual card from the Edge, so that's what it is, that's what it looks like. If you have our Instagram, you will have seen this picture as well as the other pictures, including at the bar from there. It's a really cool facility. They have heaps of stuff. So what I showed you in that earlier clip is actually only what's called their clean space, and that's stuff that doesn't have particulate that comes out in the air. So in another 2 different spaces, they've got a CNC machine. It's massive. They've got the laser cutter, which is really cool. They've got, you know, kombucha bother, basically growing organic leather material, if you want to call it that way. They've got like 500 cans of spray paint that you can use because it's donated to them from the Queensland Police. Obviously, when they pick up vandals and graffiti, illegal activity, and they confiscate the spray cans, once it's evidence and no longer required, they don't want to just chuck it out, so they donate it to the Edge. You know, so if you want to spice something up and use a bit of paint, that's where you can go and get some stuff. And then next door to them, which is not affiliated to the Edge, but is a completely separate facility, is the Brisbane Tool Library. So if you want to borrow power tools, gardening tools, home tools, specialist tools, things like that, you can pay a yearly subscription. I think it was like $75 is what the guy said, and basically borrow equipment for a week. And it could save you a considerable amount of money because, well, it's a lot cheaper to pay the subscription and a small fee than to go out and acquire and buy this equipment if you're going to only use it for a very short amount of time. It's also part of like a recycling scheme because they collect and refurbish and fix up stuff that's just being chucked away so it doesn't end up in landfill. Another section, which is their community computer area, is where they collect computers that are still serviceable or can be easily repaired or fixed, and people in the community who don't have the money or the means to actually get into computing can actually attend sessions there where they learn about how to fix, maintain, look after the computers, and they actually walk away with a functional computer that has Ubuntu installed on it, so they don't have to be paying for a Windows license and so on and so forth. So there's some really amazing initiatives that are happening there in that space down in the Edge. Now, I want to say a massive thank you to Hayden, who actually gave us the tour and talked us through a whole bunch of stuff and showed us everything. I want to say thank you to Tommy, as well as Billy, for actually getting it all set up and organized and happening. I want to say thank you to all the guys who turned up, you know, Cameron, James, Indy. I don't know some of the other guys by their actual names, but for those who turned up, I really appreciate it. I had a good time meeting and chatting with you guys and seeing very briefly the stuff that was out there and available in Brisbane. So hopefully we'll have more opportunity to be able to get up there and check that out again at the next meetup. So yeah, that's it. Yeah, I'm a bit sad I couldn't get a bit more footage and interview material for you all, but I still had a great time, and I hope you enjoyed a very brief snippet of what the Edge looks like. And of course, if you are in Brisbane, if you are in Queensland, and you've got the opportunity, go check them out. If you are not, and you are in another state like I am, have a talk to your local government facilities like your state libraries and things like that, and see if they would be interested in getting funding for something like this, because it's absolutely amazing. It opens up the possibilities for innovation, design, development, and a little bit of funding can go a very long way, especially if you get certain groups and organizations that just have excess stuff that they would potentially be just chucking away that could end up being used, like what they do at the Edge and the Brisbane Tool Library. Well, that's it. Thanks very much for checking out this video, and yeah, as usual, until next time, happy clacking.